a researcher pays a visit to a temple. But she's come to find something a little unusual. Large wooden votive tablets called Sangaku. On them are written intricate math problems and their answers. Centuries ago, people in Japan used wasan, a homegrown form of mathematics. Their work was preserved on these wooden tablets and offered to temples and shrines. Dr. Antonia Kreisel is an intellectual historian from Germany. She's captivated by the ideas and values reflected in Japan's Sangaku tradition.
The Sangaku also have to do with the locality as much as with the nationwide network of mathematicians.
She travels the country, recording and photographing Sangaku wherever they remain. Her research is still ongoing, but she's beginning to find an interesting pattern emerge.
I think the aspect of Sangaku that I'm particularly interested in is as a medium of communication.
Exploring the relationship between the Japanese and mathematics through the lens of Sangaku, we follow Antonia Kreisel on her journey of discovery. Experts from around the world, across a wide range of disciplines, uncover layers of Japan that even its own people may not fully perceive. This is Outside In, Lost in Academia.
おはようございます。
おはようございます。
よろしくお願いします。
よろしくお願いします。
We joined Kreisel on her fieldwork. Her first stop, the local information center?
自転車を借りたいんですけれど。
An electric assist bike.
20分ぐらいかかります。ちゃんと間違えます。だから私が1時間と言ったらだいたい2時間ですね。
Her destination is a temple 6 kilometers away. She rides a bicycle to save on expenses. Living in Japan for 2 years, most of her research currently means travel. After about 40 minutes, she arrives at the temple.
こんにちは。私はお世話になっております。私は早稲田大学高等研究所アントニア・カライズルと申します。ありがとうございます。
From a historical record, she learned of a Sangaku enshrined here.
山岳、これですか？
あ、はい。はいはいはい、これです。まあ、綺麗ですね。
This is a Sangaku.
Sangaku is a special type of votive tablets that became popular in the Edo period in Japan, and in Japan only. So people interested in mathematics would write mathematical problems that they had solved.
Most Sangaku feature geometric diagrams. Beneath each diagram is the question and the numerical answer. The names listed are the people who solved the problems and dedicated the tablet together. This one dates back more than 160 years. At the time, math enthusiasts expressed their gratitude for solving the problems through these public offerings.
ものすごく綺麗です。
Kreisel's research begins here, with photographing the Sangaku.
文字もはっきり読めるように近くからだいたい写真を撮ります。One point of the archive is that we want to have high-resolution images and make it easy to zoom in.
documenting the Sangaku in the highest detail possible. That's the most essential part of her research for the archive. Using a high-resolution camera, she switches between standard and wide-angle lenses. She learned these techniques specifically for this research. Getting every part of the text and diagrams in focus is not easy. Out of dozens of shots, only 1 or 2 are usable. Across Japan, nearly 900 Sangaku tablets are known to exist. In the past 2 years, Karaisel has photographed more than 500 of them. This temple has one more of the math tablets. The techniques demonstrated on Sangaku originated from China, along with calendar science and astronomy. Then, in Japan, they evolved into a distinctive mathematical culture known as Wasan. Here's a relatively simple example. The large circle's diameter is 10, while the small circle's diameter is 7. The question asks to find the side lengths of the right triangles. In modern mathematics, you draw auxiliary lines from the centers of the circles, form isosceles triangles, set up equations, and solve them step by step. Using tools like the Pythagorean theorem, it takes about 5 steps to reach the answer. But in Wasan, there's a rule known as method of n-circle. It states the hypotenuse of a right triangle equals the base plus height minus the diameter of the n-circle. This formula was often used in Wasan. By using this simple formula, you can skip 1 step and still reach the answer. While modern mathematics is based on step-by-step logic using definitions and formal proofs, Wasan often relied on empirically derived formulas. Karaisel isn't a mathematician. She's an intellectual historian. Intellectual history is the study of how people's ideas and values have changed over time within a particular era or region.
It's not like that makes Sangaku less of a historic object sort of preserved in formaldehyde. It has it's not just the Edo period network, there's also a current network of people connected to it.
Through Sangaku, she's tracing how this Japanese mathematical culture known as Wasan spread across the country. After each trip, Karaisel moves on to the next process of research.
Wakamatsu Kanonji we went to here.
She uploads the images and adds metadata such as location details for each Sangaku. At the start of her research, she used existing materials and pinned 900 known Sangaku locations in red. 2 years later, and the map is changing. Green and blue pins now show sites already photographed or awaiting permission. About 400 remain.
So this is a preview of my Sangaku archive. So for example here, there's a lot of writing here, but it'd be hard to tell what that is, right? But with the zoom, you can now read all the names and all the content that's on the Sangaku. And as you see, it's slightly faint here. So without the zooming capacity, it'd be kind of difficult to really properly read everything.
The online archive also includes problems and old documents that record the history of Sangaku. Every entry appears in both Japanese and English, making the data more widely accessible. One of her assistants is a student from China who helps translate the tablets written in classical Chinese and offers mathematical support. She insists on making the archive open access so anyone can use it.
It's not just about digitizing, also making it accessible and discoverable in different ways. I would like there to be as much research as possible about Sangaku.
Once the archive is complete and all the data is in place, a full-scale analysis will begin. Karaisel first learned about Sangaku shortly after completing her doctoral studies in the UK. As part of her doctoral study, she had been researching how Euclidean geometry had influenced the work of a German philosopher. Afterwards, she came across a manuscript about astronomy that the Jesuits brought to Japan.
I just found out by coincidence that they also brought Euclid, and then I wanted to know, as I said before, whether Euclid had such an impact in Japan as well. But as I was researching, I just didn't find anything.
What explains this?
In Japan, they speak a different mathematics. That was kind of an interesting thing to find out.
The different mathematics that existed in Japan was Wasan. Centuries ago, Wasan was taught in temple schools, where ordinary children learned it alongside reading and writing. The Jinkoki was one of the first mathematics textbooks. Covering everything from weighing goods to calculating roof angles, it was a practical math book and a nationwide bestseller. Before long, professional mathematicians began to emerge, now known as Wasanga. Many of them opened private schools and became influential educators. Using tools like counting rods, or sangi, and abacuses, they also brought mathematics to life as entertainment for common people. Despite the difficulty of the problems, there was a sense of playful challenge, like solving a riddle. Wasan enthusiasts began to appear across the country. Karaisel believes that because Japan had its own mathematical tradition, Western Euclidean geometry never fully took root here.
Was it the shock or was it the pleasant?
You mean, was my European vanity hurt? The answer, obviously. Obviously, this is as good as we ever got, right?
In the mid to late 19th century, Western mathematics was formally adopted in Japan. And yet, many Sangaku tablets from that era still remain. This is Mitake Shrine in Yamagata Prefecture. There's no permanent priest. The shrine is cared for by the local townspeople. She's greeted by members of a local Sangaku study group.
135年ぐらい。
This tablet was dedicated in 1890. Karaisel discovered that over half of the Sangaku that survive today were offered after 1868, when the Meiji era began.
The idea is always like, then there was Meiji, mathematics education completely changed. We stopped doing things the Japanese way and then just continued in a Western fashion. Boom. But then if you look at Sangaku, they continue to be dedicated also with a ryuha on it, like with the school denomination and with wazan problems. Maybe the education system changed, but the culture persisted, right? So it kind of helps you refine a narrative that otherwise would be quite too simplified, probably, right?
Karaisel relies on local Wasan researchers across Japan. Yorozu Shinsuke, an expert of Wasan in the Yamagata region, joins her on this visit.
日本の和算研究の中で英語版っていうのがほとんどないんですよ。世界に向けて発信することはいいなという思いはしてたんですけど。
本殿。
本殿？はい。
献上糸が。
They're guided to the inner sanctuary, where the principal deity is enshrined.
落書きもありますか？
中入ってください。
あ、すごいこれ。あ、それも初めてです。
A Wasan problem scribbled right onto the wall.
そしてこちら。
おつ円形が一寸。
はい。
その次後円形がいくらかという問題。
ああ、すごいこれ。
The author is unknown, but it implies that Wasan once permeated daily life. Karaisel will probe further into this rare discovery in the future. The members of the local study group are modern-day Wasan enthusiasts. Even today, such groups can be found all across Japan.
わらび一本漬けだとそこの山菜。
あ、そうなんですか。
これわらび。
I think what's interesting about it, or at least like as a person who's not from Japan, like the one thing that they also help me understand is sort of like the way a community invests in, not invest, but like is invested in a shrine or in a location. Like thousands of these things were dedicated for fun. And the fact that this sort of like mathematics is fun in the Edo period, that this phenomenon has a renaissance in current times when people get together and do this together and do the research for like sociable reasons.
In the past, people became connected through Sangaku. Karaisel thinks that even now, these tablets continue to link people as an enduring medium of communication. Next, she heads to Rishakuji, a famous mountain temple. She's been granted special permission to view a Sangaku not normally open to the public. It was leaning up against a wall.
あ、ちょっと手伝ってもらえませんか？
At 3 meters long, it's one of the larger Sangaku she has seen.
ものすごく大きいです。まあ全部きれいに残っていますね。
It displays 12 Wasan problems. In addition to the usual geometric figures, it features drawings of a brush and paper, as well as an abacus. Each problem has an image to match. She notices something.
これです。最上流。ここに流が書かれていますね。最上流。みんなが、あ、これは石流でしょ。石流だから、ああ、そうなんですか。だからいろいろな流の生徒が入ってるそうですね。
In Wasan, different schools of thought existed, each competing to perfect its own techniques. Karizel has long been intrigued by these different schools of thought. One influential master was Seki Takakazu, whose students established the Sekiryu school. From Yamagata came Aida Yasuaki, founder of the Saijōryu. Across Japan, more than 20 such schools are known. Through her digital archive, Karizel aims to color code the data to visualize how each lineage spread. The difference between schools lay in their techniques for solving problems.
そしてこの漢字は術の文章始まります。It's a technique. It's a technique. It's the solving techniques.
For example, a problem about finding the diameter of the smaller circle. The text reads, "The smaller circle's diameter is 3/8 that of the larger one's." It serves as a hint to show what technique the dedicator has used. Each school competed to create better, more refined jutsu, which served to advertise the school's prowess. Through the medium of Sangaku, mathematicians showcased their techniques, inspiring others to enroll in their school.
So, in a way, I think, in a way you can think of Sangaku as an Edo period form of social media.
This particular tablet was dedicated in 1914. Most of the problem contributors were students of the Saijōryu, but one name from the Sekiryu also appears.
At this point, it's not as if you really had a commercial competition anymore. So perhaps, I'm not entirely sure about this yet, but perhaps Wasan had proceeded to this point where it was also a pleasure pursuit, and Sekiryu and Saijōryu were not at each other's throats anymore.
The next site is in Nagano, for a Sangaku that was discovered only recently. Not much research has been done on it. Tsuchikura Monjudo is a temple that's been unstaffed for about 15 years. They've borrowed the key from its caretaker.
その山岳を発見した方は誰ですか？
私たちもね、よく知らないんだよ。本が出て、その本見たら山岳のことが載ってて、それで私たちが初めて知って、それでここへ初めて訪ねてきたんです。
なるほど。
Built in 1795, this temple is dedicated to Monju Bosatsu, the bodhisattva of wisdom.
それでね、どれだ？あった？あ、これが一枚ね。
そうですね。
A Sangaku fitted into the ceiling.
あとはね、あ、これね。
あった？あ、これだ。これ。
These ceiling panels were dedicated in the early 20th century. When the old ceiling began to collapse, local residents came together to restore it, each donating a plaque. Among them were 2 Sangaku.
向こうの部屋にちょっと面白いのがあった。
あ、そうなんですか。
They step into the inner chamber, where the principal deity is enshrined.
ここにあるのね。あ、板があった。
あ、和参加ですか。
これがね、
あ、すごい。
山岳ではないけど、
まあでも和参加の枝、あ、三木使っています。
使ってる。これが文殊、多分文殊堂だから文殊菩薩だと思うんだよ。そこから五光がして、この和参加が三木を使いながら計算してるから、これ和参に関するのだと思うんだ。
はい。
Receiving the light of Monju Bosatsu, the deity of wisdom, a local mathematician of the time is depicted. Using his trusty calculating device, the Sangi, to tackle any problem in his way.
うわ、
確かにすごい。
めっちゃいいこれ。まあその、まあ。
Across Japan, there are nearly 20,000 temples like this without permanent priests. And if you include shrines, there may still be many Sangaku yet to be discovered.
まあヨーロッパに、無人みたいな教会もありますが、まあ誰もないと誰が管理しません。そうですね。まあでも日本で神社が、無人ですが神社が残っていますね。そして山岳も残っています。その管理、まあそのコミュニティのおかげで、そうですね。そしていやそれは本当に感動します。
As the number of surviving Sangaku slowly declines, Karaizel continues her work to record them. It's only a matter of time until her archive is complete. Once all the photographs are gathered, she'll begin a full-scale analysis. Today's visit to Tsuchikura Monjudo will be one more site added to the archive.
Very happy, obviously.